there, boys and girls. Welcome to this Super Bowl Sunday episode of Hollow Weekly.
Yes, and a special guest episode.
Yay!
You know that voice.
You know that voice.
Garin's here.
Garin, welcome back.
It's good to be back, you guys. I'm so happy to be here.
The Rams just won.
Yeah,
We're in LA.
We've had a great weekend of movie watching,
And sports.
companionship, sport. Oh my God, it's been fantastic. But Event Horizon is going to be the movie that we build all this story around, because that was kind of the core of what was going on here. And it's a revisit for the podcast. It's a first time watch for you, right?
Yep, and the first time for you guys too, and glorious 35 mil.
That's right.
First time going to the Midnights at the New Beverly.
That's
with an
right.
incredible crowd.
Oh yeah, talk
Great
about
pre-show.
that. Talk about how this went down. The arrangements
Well, dude,
were.
so we got there kind of early because I know they showed trailers and stuff. So I wanted to make sure we got there, got a good seat, and I kind of looked at George, and it was movie started at midnight, or everything started at midnight, and it was 11:30, 11:40, and I was like, yeah, there's no one here. I go to get popcorn to come back, half the it's just
it
half
filled up
full.
pretty good.
Yeah, it filled up really nice. Half the audience there, I'd never seen it before.
And you know what was great about it too? You had just seen North by Northwest for your very first time ever. And I told you guys on the way to the theater about how our host ruined it for my buddy. And the best host, what's the first thing they asked? Show of hands, how many people have seen this?
Yep.
Right.
That's the very first thing.
So good.
And
Because you get a spoiler feeling for the crowd. And then they knew right away not to spoil, because a surprising number of people, it was their first time seeing it.
Yeah, and that was great too.
Which was great energy.
And the hosts are excited. We're like, oh my God, almost all of you have never seen this before.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And he
great
said
life.
the coolest thing. This actually has been the theme of the weekend, weirdly. So he said the coolest thing. Nick caught it.
He was like, it's like we all traveled back to 1997 to watch this movie for the first time.
Right, and then he said this phrase, it's like we're time traveling in here, man. He was doing his Tarantino impression while he was introing the movie, right? And he was like, it's like we're time traveling with these movies, man. And then they show this weird, Wii console commercial.
Yeah, it was like a British commercial for the
On
Nintendo Wii.
35 mil.
On 35.
That was what made it even better. It's
Why is it on there?
why do you have this?
And then the Super Bowl halftime show is definitely time traveling. So we have been in a time travel tunnel since that comment you caught.
Yeah, when I went to pick it up from Chipotle, I went on Spotify and it was 90s driving rock. I was like,
we're just in a wormhole of the 90s.
And then throw in City Lights for me earlier today.
Oh,
that
shit, yeah.
Celebrated its 100th anniversary.
Oh my God.
Oh my God! Can we talk about that for a second? First of all, that is mind-boggling that's 100 years old, because
Actually,
that movie looks so good still.
And so did that print. I don't think it's 100. I think it's 90, but still, I mean,
close
it's lived a good life.
Right.
But we were also talking about how we caught a glimpse of Boris Karloff in it for a second, and I just thought that was just oh, there he is.
Boris Karloff in a Chaplin movie. I had no idea.
Yeah, just for the briefest second,
That's so cool.
A boxer walking through, because that's how he paid the rent till he became the monster and became the overnight sensation at 43 years old.
Right.
I knew I could make it.
He was a Halloween Weekly trivia question on the page. It was what horror actor had their breakthrough movie on their 113th show or something.
My God.
Right.
He could have called it a 112, but he just kept
I got a good feeling about this.
this one's going to be good. And you guys, of course, the trailers, all the, man, you talk about just
this is all Paul W.S. Anderson trailers.
90s CG. You can't get excited for that. The Mortal Kombat trailer, while you were gone, Nick and I were talking about how the whole theater just got so pumped up for once the score started.
Yeah.
And in your head, everyone, Sonya. Score, and we're just chanting along with
People
it.
got up, started fighting.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Going into this, they were I even told Nick this. The guy who was introing the movies, he did this pretend grandeur tone when he said Paul Anderson's name. He was like, we're here for the work of Paul W.S. Anderson. And he said it like it was Orson Welles, right? And, sometimes that's a little tongue-in-cheek. Sometimes they mean it. Right. And then they were like, we're going to do all Paul Anderson trailers. So I was like, I wonder how this is going to play. Because you could pick a whole bunch of his movies, right? The way they played it was perfect. By the time it was over, you were like, wait, he's super legit but like always entertaining, right? So which was really, the crowd was really into it. It was a great like hype move.
I noticed in the Resident Evil trailer that the blood was blue, and I wonder.
Oh, that's right.
I
Weird.
wonder why that.
I have no idea.
Who knows? Who knows? Like, God knows how old some of these trailers are and how the color gets faded and warped. And also, too, maybe they just needed that trailer out fast and they didn't color correct it, or maybe one just slipped by the goalie.
That's what I'm.
A lot of the stuff that they show at the New Bev are like one-off things or things that only aired once or like, people forgot existed. I just love that they do that. It's cool. And then we plow into Event Horizon. So after all of this festive fun, it was like kind of Christmas, and then all of a sudden like a guillotine falls and Event Horizon rolls in. And that is one evil, mean, amazing sci-fi movie.
Dude, so we did it on How Low Can We Go, and it was very, very low.
Yes.
29%, which is criminal.
Mm-hmm.
It is nowhere near 29%. Like, that is like the most mind-baffling.
No, I figured it out. I actually figured this out. It's 129%.
That's what it is.
That's
They just
I missed the one.
You had your left eye closed
So-
when you were looking at it.
Your first, so I want to know, first-time viewer, like, what'd you think? Like, what
Oh,
was
I loved it. I loved all the comparisons because I love the black hole.
Right.
And Disney went dark. They didn't go that dark, but it's just like it felt like a love letter to the black hole.
It's so true. This is so true. What he's saying.
Really, the parallels for it are so. I mean, lost. You're out there. You find a lost derelict ship.
Yep.
You're trying to find out what the hell happened.
Yep.
A crazy captain took over. Where's the crew? What happened to them? Where the hell have they been?
Yep.
Why are they in stasis? And it's just built on that. Sadly, there's no robots because I really like those robots.
Yeah.
One by our friend Tommy McLaughlin, Captain
Yeah,
Star.
right.
That
Which
is
is
crazy.
amazing. Which is so cool.
Yeah.
But and also both movies have unique designs that didn't get copied that much.
Both the
Like the other designs in the cinema universe will get copied over and over and over. Like Robbie the robot from Lost in Space, you see that design like in a million different movies. But like Black Hole ship and that look and that vibe, no one really duplicated that. And Event Horizon isn't really copied. I haven't seen people do that like circle with the white lights.
Yeah,
And
no.
the core, that swiveling kind of. I've never really seen exactly that look, and the fact that they nailed such a unique design was cool.
And I think like the one that came the closest, my friend refers to Spear as shitty Event Horizon.
Really?
And I'm like, that's fantastic. He's also the person who I told you, Alex Hill, is our script supervisor on our show we just finished. And he was the one who was like, dude, I wish I could go with you to watch it with you. Mm-hmm. He's like, it's one of my all-time favorite horror films.
That's cool.
I love it so much. I love Sam Neill. I was like, oh, well, I mean, there's still time if you want to fly out here. Tickets were available.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And
I mean,
aplenty.
I saw
We test every single day, so I know your COVID status is quite good.
I saw seats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw
it's
seats
not-
too.
Did you find it scary?
We're kind of blessed and spoiled at the same time that a lot of times we can see the jumps coming. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have any jump scares.
Right.
But I did notice a few people that did jump around us.
Oh,
So
the audience was gotten.
They were so into it,
Yep.
and they stuck around. They gave it a nice ovation. But yeah, they were in, and that's what I love most
great energy.
about coming to LA to watch movies. It's no place like that on earth. They are so into it. Oh, how many names got clapped after in the opening
so
credits?
many. I noticed that. Just like they
They
went
were applauding
deep
the
too.
editors.
Yeah.
They were applauding the producer.
Yeah, it was really strange. Basically, everyone major that wasn't the writer for some reason. I don't know why the writer.
Yeah,
did it.
and like Jason Isaac, who just came off Mass, who should have got an Oscar nom.
Mm-hmm.
He got a nice ovation.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean Paul Anderson got a nice
Yep,
ovation.
absolutely.
So either he was there,
Twice.
his family was there, or people just respect the process.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I think it's respect. I could feel it in the room. I mean, that movie it was legit because it holds up pretty well. It's not one of those movies that date technologically because it was so minimal and it's so bleak, right? So
Yeah, the worst you could date it is like CGI blobs of goo or water
right.
going
And-
at the
Well,
screen.
the movie itself dated some.
Yeah,
But like
2015. And that always gets a nice ovation.
Oh, yeah.
I love the Transformers movie, but when it starts out in the year 2005, we're like, oh, well, it's voiceover. We probably could change that for the updates.
that's actually kind
But
of hilarious.
But that always gets a nice chuckle. In the year 2015. Well, what the hell? We're supposed to be in space.
we're supposed to be there.
Of course, Blade Runner. We're supposed to be
Right.
dressing like that now. So
Where's our tear in the fabric of the universe?
Where's our
We were
flying-
promised.
where's our flying cars?
We were promised a destruction
Wow.
and a visit to hell.
Where's
Spoiler.
our replicants?
Spoiler.
I can wait on the gravity jump ride. Whatever they build in the movie, they can take a little more time building that thing. Make sure it doesn't make a detour.
But
Hell,
that was an incredible cast.
It
And
really
Lawrence
was.
Fishburne was, man, he was stern as steel. He was so good in that. But it all comes down to the great Sam Neill.
Yeah.
He's just so damn good.
He really is. He really flips to villains so well. It's an amazing talent to be able to go like for where you're sympathizing with someone and they're charming, and then all of a sudden they're the villain,
but also like from
and all
like,
of a sudden they have no eyes.
well, the way whenever I see him, I always think of Dr. Grant from Jurassic
Of course,
Park.
I mean,
so when
naturally.
you go from like the guy who doesn't want kids, who's kind of cool with kids now, to like slowly getting seduced by opening up the portal to hell, you're kind of like,
Yeah.
what? And he just nails it.
Right now, can we talk? I don't want to skip over Lawrence Fishburne real quick because we talked about this. This is amazing. What he's doing in this movie is amazing. This movie does not work as well as it does if he's not there. This movie drops to like 26%. I'm just kidding. I mean, he is so wise. He's like the wisest character in horror. Yeah. Every time there's a chance to make a decision, they come to him and they're like, do you want to like linger here and check things out in this evil place or what? He's like, no, fuck that.
He's like, we're out of here. He's like, what about my ship? He's like, I fully intend to blow the shit out of your ship with thermal missiles as soon as I get the opportunity.
Right. And then he's like, no, you don't. He's like, it's already done. Like, he is the best character.
It reminds me of like, some of the COs I had in my military days where just like, no business. All I care about is the mission and the crew and the people, and it's like nothing else matters.
That's so interesting.
And I think this was the last movie he did before he started prepping for The Matrix.
Oh,
because
no
they
shit.
kept him for a year of training before they ever rolled.
Right.
And that was 97, so I guarantee you that was probably the last movie he did before he did The Matrix. And he was at his sharpest.
That's
like
crazy.
If anything, he was ready to be Morpheus because. God, he is so good in that.
He really is so good in this movie.
He's so good in everything.
And he really is good in everything. And it also, movies like this where the terror is cosmic and like Lovecraftian, part of the problem with that is it's so overwhelming. Like, what's the point in fighting like something that big, right? And the hopelessness you needed, because that's part of the vibe, because that's what the ship is doing, which is just amazing, right? But you need someone tough enough to be, do you think, has a chance against hopelessness?
Yeah.
And he does it, right? Like, he was so convincing. I thought he had a chance all the way through. I also thought they were all doomed. But somehow I still thought he had a chance.
The other crewmates are like, okay, yeah,
you're I don't like you, and you're gone soon.
You're out of here. The camaraderie between all of the crew
was
super spot on. Like there wasn't any holes to be filled. Like everyone had like their own little zone covered. Just kind of like the way they rounded out that cast and camaraderie was just like
so
chef's
good.
kiss.
And can we just talk real quick for a second about how good? So there's a movie has to do when they introduce the first victim. So this victim, he gets sucked through to hell for a second and comes back, and then he's seen something really dark and he's gone for a while, and then mayhem ensues. Like, that sequence is so good all the way up until we lose him, right? Like, everything there is amazing. That's just an amazing way to show you what you're up against is what happens to this poor guy.
And you get a glimpse of it when they kind of show you the portal from hell.
Right.
But Jack Noseworthy, who God, he looked like he was 12 years old.
That's
in
what
that
I was
show.
thinking.
He would later go on to do this John Waters movie called Cecil B. Demented, and he looked like he aged 10 years and 3 years. But God, he looked like he was
so fresh-faced here.
He looked like he was 13 years old.
And you really feel for him. Like he look because the
Oh,
ship
Mama Bear,
because
Little
the ship, of course, being evil,
Would go after the
pulls
weakest
the
link.
plug on him right before. So the ship keeps him deluded. You know those parasites that get into ants and make them climb to the top of the blades of grass, and they just have to sit there until like a bird eats them or whatever. Like the ship put him out in the middle of this portal where he's either he's in the middle of space and he pushes one button and he dies. And then he's out there, and then the ship all of a sudden is like, and he looks over, he's like, "Where am I?" He's like, "Oh my God!"
And the crazy part is, he's one of the survivors.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
There's
right.
3 of them at the end.
Yeah, but he's beyond. You know, they said it themselves. Like this dude's fucked for life. He's
Right.
beyond repair.
Well, yeah. Oh, that's right. Because that guy was pretty gory.
Yeah, and Lawrence Fishburne, he's so great in that scene because he's totally as calm as you can get. He's like, "Hey, this is what you're gonna have to do.
Right.
Let all the air out. I need you to get it curl into a ball.
That's an
I need you to do
amazing
that."
move.
And he's just literally like, "We've done this before. I'll talk you through it. Just listen to my voice." And that's probably how you would survive the vacuum of
great
space.
hero.
That's lightweight. One of the best scenes in the movie. That was like a scene you could just take out of here and put in The Martian. Mm-hmm. Damn.
With potatoes.
Every move he did, like you felt good, like under his command. You're
Yes.
like I felt
Yep.
like we were
And
going
he-
to all survive.
Right. And it still kept getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah,
So-
but my faith never wavered.
Right.
I was like, as long as he's in charge,
as long as you're
I
we
think
got a
we're
shot.
gonna
Yeah,
do pretty good.
that's what you want from that
I
character.
just he was it was almost kind of like an act. You once in a while you'll get those movies where you'll get two great actors just going, and this by no means is a great movie, but like in Man of Steel when it's Michael Shannon versus Russell Crowe, just acting. And you got that with Sam Neill versus Lawrence Fishburne.
Yep.
Sometimes you'll just get like, look, I can't say this was a good movie that I just saw, but I just saw two great actors going at it.
Yep.
We were talking about before we started rolling about method acting and how it drove people out of the business. But one instance about like how we were talking about like having, call it what it is, an act off. There was a movie called it's got Montgomery Clift and he's going against Burt Lancaster, and the name escapes me, and I'm sure I'll remember it when I'm driving.
I'll find out
home.
what you're talking.
But yeah, it's just like you get those where it's just like, oh my God, you've got these greats just going at each other. Crimson Tide is another one. Denzel versus Gene Hackman.
Yes.
You'll get
yes. That is a great
where's all our
example.
money going to? See those two dudes? That's it right there. That's
It's gonna go there and let her
all
rip.
I need.
From Here to Eternity.
Yeah. God, I can't remember. How can I forget that movie?
Dude,
It's
there
only
was-
kind of legendary.
I didn't tell you guys about this part, but when we were watching it, because the first time we watched it, I think we just watched it like on like our big screen and here on like on the computer. I don't remember where
Had
I
you guys
first
seen
watched
it before you watched it together, or was that your first time seeing it?
When
What, Event Horizon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like I've seen it before, all that, and I don't think we watched Event Horizon together. I think it was one of those episodes where we were watching it separate, and then we'll just meet. And
I think we watched it
record.
together. I remember.
Do you?
Yeah,
because I don't remember.
I think we watched it together.
Not possible.
But what didn't happen to me in there that happened to me in here was when Sam Neill's character wakes up and he's on that like space station getting ready to go, and it's that real big long shot where the camera's twisting. I got dizzy during that shot because of like it just kept spinning, and I was like,
So like 2001, you.
yeah, like I just like I had to like kind of like close my eyes for a second. And just,
That's
like,
awesome.
Well,
breathe a little.
they snuck a when he's repairing the inside, and that's another thing too. The art direction. This is a good looking picture.
Oh my God, it's so good.
It is a good looking picture, and God, I miss the days of real sets. They snuck a Vertigo shot in there when he's inside the
fixing the
yeah,
thing in
and
the
it's all lit in green, and it made it look even better. It was like, oh, I miss.
That's
We
right.
never do stuff like that anymore. we barely.
And it's
do
got a
real
look that you can tell.
Yeah, it's like, there's a real set. There's like watching the new Star Wars movies. Like, oh wow, that actually looks like a real set.
That's crazy.
I felt what you were saying when they were in that big long corridor, and like it was the corridor where everyone just went to sprint. Like you could really
that looks like Disney's black hole. That corridor, yes.
You'll see when you see the black hole, you'll see that corridor a lot. Whether it be matte painting, whether it be real painting.
The cool set that I really loved was when it was Lawrence Fishburne and God, who was the doc? Who was the medical guy?
That wasn't.
He's in all the British movies.
Yeah, it'll come.
That
to me.
wasn't. That wasn't Jason, was it?
It'll come to me. I'll look it up while you're talking. But go ahead.
The guy who always plays a British.
Because there's two people in here.
Always,
right.
If you watch a war film,
no, I know you're talking about.
It's always that guy. But when they were talking, and it had like the green like cryostasis things in the background, like it just looked like a painting. It looked so good.
And I miss the days of matte painting. I miss when we used.
That's what we were talking about after we watched North by Northwest.
Yep. Yeah, this is a weird coincidence.
Oh, North by Northwest with the world's wonkiest trees when they go to the forest.
Yes.
Like,
totally.
wait a second,
Yes,
I've never
totally.
seen these trees before.
Totally.
And then I watched like Bride of Frankenstein. Like, oh, okay, well, there were those trees.
Right.
They obviously moved them from one set to the other.
Yeah,
but
same trees.
Those matte paintings on North by Northwest when they're up at the monument. I was like, God, those look great.
They really do, and they have a unique feel. But I don't. Before we get off our direction, I just got to dwell on the core of this ship. Like, so there's something that we haven't addressed here yet, right? We're in a horror movie, and horror movies usually have villains. So who's the villain of this movie?
It eventually turned out to be Sam Neill, but
does Sam Neill feel like the villain?
Well, it's like there's like so many because there's so many bad things that come. Like everybody has their own villain for the most part.
Right.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne's friend who got incinerated, the old captain that was on the ship.
Right.
Sam Neill's wife.
Everyone had complicated bad things coming to them, kind of like Final Destination, but like it was like the villain was like evilness itself. They kept saying the ship is evil. It went somewhere evil. It came back with something evil like a life force, and they kept saying the ship was alive. I think whatever the life force that came back is the villain, and that means that if that's the villain is the core. Like it's the thing that was spinning around and doing that thing. And that is the best looking thing in this movie. Yeah. And it's where everyone dies. They're like getting baptized in blood over and over.
You saw
at the feet of this like spherical monster. And I got a creepy vibe watching it. We're at a midnight showing. It's like late. We're in like, LA, like.
And also on the screen, the core is like 40 feet bigger.
Right.
You're just looking at the design of it.
Right. And, like, a lot of horror movies fail because they can't make the villain look legit. And this is an old movie that didn't get a lot of credibility when it came out. And now here it is all these years later, and the villain looks better than most villains of movies that are released now points to this movie.
Of everybody I talked to before I left, they were the most excited for our screening. I told them about City Lights. I told them about Fright Night. I told them about this and that. But they were like, oh my God, you're going to see that? And they're like physically shaking me like, all right, one, you're hurting me. Wow. And two, I'm really excited the fact that you would be willing to hurt me because you're this excited for me to see this. And you've never seen this ever? I'm like, no, guys, like I'm not just saying that for...
That's a good barometer. People's reactions.
Yeah, they're like, I'm real excited for you to see that. That's great. God, I wish I was back.
Yeah, if you were like, I'm seeing Stuart Little, they're like...
They're shaking me for the wrong reason. What is wrong with you?
Yeah. $10.
You paid that? It's like, well, it was on film. And then like half the camera team would be like, okay.
There was one scene that reminded me a lot of The Haunting when they tried to close one of the doors and all of a sudden like all the bumps it looked like the door was breathing like the doors.
And it goes sequentially.
Yeah. I
so good.
I really dug the hell out of
it. Can I just point something out? It's gonna be really hard to do in a podcast. But you look kind of like Sam Neill in the captain's chair of Event Horizon right now.
All you're missing is
like you literally
All you're missing is that scoop chair by Lawrence.
I was gonna say that's my favorite. That was my favorite.
You got this
design.
weird shit on your head in this weird way. You have wires everywhere coming down.
telling us we don't need eyes to see.
Well, for the podcast, we don't.
Yeah,
We
that's
just
true.
need ears.
We just-
This is kind of perfect. No, the captain's chair in that movie was my favorite. In fact, there were some people kind of laughing at it when it first showed up because he kept swiveling back and forth and it was like rocking back and forth a little
It
bit.
looked like the chair from that Peter O'Toole film, The Stuntman, where like literally he's the director and he is transported everywhere.
In his chair.
In
He's
his
like
chair.
part chair. It's like with Johnny Carson one time after he retired. Or maybe not when he retired. I don't know. Maybe it was during his reign. I can't remember. But he went on David Letterman's show. But no one ever seen Johnny Carson on a show that wasn't his. But he came on with his desk. So he brought his desk out and brought his desk and sat next to David Letterman's
Oh my god.
desk, right? He just goes places with his damn desk. That's the same thing. Yeah.
No, so the
The chair is amazing. The
chair's
core is amazing.
The second, or this is our second or third viewing. This is
Yes.
our revisit.
Yes.
Was there anything different that you know?
Well, first of all, the experience was amazing. We had Garin, and we had a crowd, and all of that is just great energy and makes it all special. And then, the midnight showing and all that. The experience is all good. It was all good points. In the movie itself, I mean, just seeing it that way, that's one thing, right? And then, really, the only other thing. First of all, the sounds of the jump scares. This is the main takeaway that I had. I told you this in the car on the way home. So my main takeaway was, what a movie needs to be special, it needs something like one element to be special. Like, and the special thing this movie turns out to have, I think, is that it's mean. This movie is mean in its heart. Its jump scares are mean. They're like fingernails on chalkboard mean. There's like 3 whoosh panel jump scares that are just like really annoying.
There's a couple hands like, hey,
but they're very sudden and in your face. They're jump scares the way a bully in high school does jump scares. Like you come around the corner and all of a sudden there's an elbow in your throat,
Or you push in the back.
Yeah.
right, exactly. That it's got that. It's gonna show you things you don't want to see, right? It's gonna tell you things about how life ends that you don't want to know, and it's gonna take people that you think are really charming, like Sam Neill, and turn them into villains, and it's take people you're gonna root for and just break them down piece by piece in front of your eyes. And so it's beautiful and dark and like whatever, but this is a mean movie, and I think that it looks good and it has all that stuff, but the fact that it's mean as heart makes it special. This is so special to me.
Again, I mean, it's just like it really was the black hole for adults.
Right?
It just was. If
I know
you
it's the perfect one-line blurb. That it really is.
If you loved the black hole, and I grew up with it, I think it came out in like 79 or 80.
Yeah,
so
that feels right.
I would have been in 97 ready to see
Prime and ready.
the next. Oh, okay, this is even meaner because the black hole is also mean,
Right.
and nasty
It
too. And Disney
for Disney.
Disney has never gone that route again. They did 3 movies where they were like, okay, we're going to do a film division. Hope you guys like them, but we're going balls out. They did Condor Man, they did The Black Hole, they did Tron, and they've never tried to even go remotely close back to that. But those movies, all 3 had 3 things going for them. They all had balls.
Yep.
And they were just, okay, we told you they weren't for kids. Why did you bring them?
Yep.
Black Hole's PG for a reason.
Yep.
I mean, they go to hell in the end. They literally die
Yes.
and go to hell at the end. It's when we say that,
Yes.
that you saw the black hole last night, and I can't wait to take you to see it when it comes back.
It's a
Like that's like me flying up on 2 hours sleep for 12 hours. Like, oh, black hole's here. Okay,
right.
okay. All I needed to know.
It's really like the black hole for some reason in like that era of Disney's, like it got different later as everything got edgier after, like, anti-heroes became like whatever.
You go
right,
to,
but at the time it was like this. The description was, it was like in Disney's work, it went like this. It was like, rainbows, light rays, razor blades,
But
cherries. And you're like, wait, what?
yeah, I heard razor blades.
like, wait, what?
Oh yeah,
Like, what is?
yeah.
And then
We're-
Black Hole was just sitting there, like this razor blade in the middle of Disney's. Like,
I mean, they go to hell in the black hole.
It's
they
pretty-
legitimately go to
It's
hell.
pretty great.
And it's nightmare fueled, just like the clip show where the core showed you that.
Yep.
It's 1 and 1A. And when you see that, you're like, who was this made for? I was like, well, some really cool kids. Because I know it freaked, because they still had action figures. They still had all this stuff.
Yep.
All of it Horizon was missing was action figures.
It's true.
I'm excited to like do the reverse.
Yeah,
back. Like,
exactly.
we're gonna start with the adult, like version.
And now you'll get that.
That'll be.
You're gonna trust me, when you finally watch it, you'll be like, man, you were not kidding. This is Event Horizon.
Right, totally.
Well, I think the runtime it's not a super long movie. It feels like probably like an hour and a half, like kind of.
And it moved quick.
Yeah,
it seemed like it went.
Because when we were getting set, we were talking about the 10 movies that are nominated for an Oscar this year. And one of them was Don't Look Up, and like we both enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it was 40 minutes too long.
Yeah.
And I kind of miss where movies like Event Horizon, because the pacing of Event Horizon is great. There's never a dull moment. It's boom, 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 boom. And then you're out of there. And I kind of miss, every movie nowadays, I feel like has to be 2 hours and 30 minutes because of money or something.
And not just that, because you're chasing Oscars and you try to get... My friend described Don't Look Up as Network meets Deep Impact meets Judd Apatow. I'm like, that's perfect. If you think about it, that's perfect. Wow. That's absolutely perfect. With a hand of Dr. Strangelove. But they because they're making all their bread on that cast, you have to just keep bringing them in and bringing them in and bringing them in. Right. And that's why they're so goddamn long. Like, Timothy Chalamet didn't come in to like the hour and a half mark, if maybe even later.
Yeah, it was a while.
Yeah, it's a point where like you just completely forget they're in the movie. And then somebody like Michael Chickie got like top billing. That's what we call him on set. Chicky. Chickie's the best. Somebody like him, he was on screen for maybe 10 seconds.
Right.
And but I will say my favorite characters on Don't Look Up. Ron Perlman's character.
Oh, for sure.
Because he was so politically incorrect. And it would always pan to somebody's like, well, he's from a different time. And it would always be a different person to make up for whatever horribly racist, terrible thing he had to say. And my other favorite was Jonah Hill. And I don't know if you guys heard this, but he said he based his character if the Fry Festival was a human being.
What? Oh my God!
And if you've seen the
movie, I wonder
movie,
if he sat and watched films. He was like, let me really deep dive into the fire.
And I think that's so.
They had like
perfect.
5 documentaries as soon as.
That's right.
And they're all 5 great.
That's amazing. From it.
But boy,
who's got more documentaries, the festival or Tiny Herding? Like or movies?
I think there's more fire festivals than our World War II ones.
The fire festival.
It did have a weird.
I think so.
It did have a weird resume.
I don't know. It's weird to be reminiscent about like run time.
Yeah. Right. Well,
like I kind of just miss like you get in there, no nonsense, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, totally. Like Lawrence Fishburne would do it. It was like
yes.
Like he. It's
we will
the
be
movie
done
that,
in 90 minutes, and we will be out.
It's the movie that Lawrence Fishburne's character would have made, right? Like that's how it.
Drive My Car is 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Oh yeah. That's trouble.
3 hours 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I just want to just real quick because
you look defeated.
I
already. You're like,
I'm tired.
Before we move on, hold on. Before we move on from Event Horizon, I just want to one thing because I wanted to figure out with people who've seen it. I feel like the ship was flatlinersing them to death a little bit.
A little,
right? Right, but like, did that work? Because I don't think that really worked. I don't think the showing them the people who meant things in their life fit in this movie. It didn't work at all. And
plus too, like going after the single mom with visitation issues. Like, come on,
right?
That's
like for some reason on this watch, I was like, wait,
even hell wouldn't be that mean. Like, come on,
yeah, is that well? Maybe you're right. I mean, I'm sure that's what it is.
She only gets them on weekends.
The thing with that to me, I can see why it didn't work this time.
I don't know that it didn't work. I just know that I came away more puzzled this time.
They were all kind of cheesy, like the little kids going "Mommy," and
flatliners, right?
And then everyone, the execution of it was
right.
Kind of.
Is that am I crazy or that's the thing? The one thing I noticed this time, I was like, I don't feel like this fits here now. All of a sudden, it's weird. But everything else, I would love.
The print was incredible.
The print was awesome.
Yeah, the guy made a point too about the sound.
Yep.
Yeah.
The sounds were incredible.
Yeah, because that first jump scare when it was the blinds to Sam Neill.
It got the whole audience.
And you felt it like in my I almost farted. It was
Yeah, I mean, my ribs like
all that
vibrated.
popcorn.
Yeah, all that
you
popcorn.
have no one. I was gonna be like, let's find the guy responsible. Oh, here he is.
Oh,
And I
here
show
he
you
is.
like a mirror
If I
of
just
you.
ate kernels and that happened, you would have heard pop in my stomach. So.
And that's why you go. That's why you fly across Los Angeles with good friends to see them on film, because just like records, they sound better.
Yep.
Just like film, it looks better.
Yep.
It's just better.
It was
and
such a good
I don't
experience.
care what anybody says. It just looks better on film.
Right.
And anybody who says it's not just doesn't know what they're talking about. It just does.
It looked amazing, and it also not just the sound, but I noticed the fact that when you're sitting in front of a TV, when you look away from a TV or screen or whatever we're calling this shit now, like when you look away, you're looking away at other artificial things, right? If the room I'm in now, if I was watching something on your computer, if I looked away, I'd see a guitar, I'd see some books, I'd see a lamp, right? In this one, I looked away
Sounds
and I
like
was
a sophisticated office.
right.
Sounds like a man of great.
Yeah, great.
I'd right. I'd see
great,
right exactly. I'd see
exquisite
the
taste.
birds
with with
Like
secret
amazing.
movie club
right
posters.
with the Event Horizon looking thing behind my head that I don't trust now.
You get sucked into it.
It looks like the void.
Screwed.
But yeah, it's
I'm gonna be the guy like, I'm gonna destroy your house. And there's nothing you can do. Okay.
it doesn't matter. I just the experience was watch when I looked away from this, I was seeing human beings reacting to it.
Mm-hmm.
When I looked away, I was seeing people ducking in their chairs or like turn to each other with the clearly the body language of what just happened.
You know what I think?
And that's just so much refreshing.
To add to that, I think I know why, because like when we were talking while we were watching the Super Bowl was like I think we're kind of like enamored with the Vista Theater, like of just like,
Totally.
like the tiling out front, the architecture inside, like it's like Garin, you're saying the curtains, like everything about
Absolutely.
it's like really nice. But there's something kind of stripped down about like the new Bev, like you like it is kind of like a no bullshit.
It's no
like,
frills. I mean, it legitimately
hardly
like,
a bathroom.
barely.
Yeah,
if you're
bathroom
broad-shouldered like
1.5.
us, you're
You're screwed.
you're screwed. You
You're
better
short,
you better
cheek to cheek with the guy. With the guy
you better wait. You better hope you don't have to food. But
And
even,
then the guy who introed the movie was like, "No vaping or smoking during the movie. You do that on the sidewalk." He's like, "That's why we put the sidewalk there." Like that funny joke. And I was thinking that is the worst sidewalk in history. It's like 2 square feet out there, and everything else is like you're standing in front of cars going 80 miles an hour. Like you're that. No, like your joke insinuates you have an actual sidewalk. You guys don't have space for anything here.
but the nice thing is, like, if you are a vapor, you'll still be able to hear the movie
well, true.
with traffic. The ambiance, as they call it.
That's true.
But even like with the experience of the new Bev, I think our tickets were like $5 a piece.
That's awesome.
You paid for our scrumdiddlyumptious feast. I'm sure that did. Any other theater,
that was like $17 for a couple popcorns and
Right.
a couple drinks. Like
This is
that would have been a popcorn at like other places.
yeah, with a Groupon or something. You got to beg.
Well,
you gotta
okay, so
barter
now that
for
we're
price.
reviewing the new Bev, can we just talk about the fact that parking is amazingly easy somehow?
That's why I never.
It's the only place in LA where the parking is easy. Am I crazy?
No, you should have saw the spot I got today. I mean,
what is
'cause
happening?
I went back.
That area of the planet should not be easy to park in.
no.
And not just that. I mean,
What's happening?
You got it's the community, the rabbis who will always be. They're the nicest.
This is not the
people.
answer I expected.
They are seriously. It's like I had a little time to kill, and I'm just watching something on my, watching a review on something, and like these Amish, not Amish, but these kids, they always come by and like, hey, you guys, how you? Oh, hey, how are you doing? And they always want to know what you're gonna watch next.
Sure.
They always want to. Oh, do you work on movies? I'm like, yeah. It's like, is there anything I've seen? I was like, well, probably not anything your folks would let you want to see, but they're always just, and that goes
She's
to
will
like,
be demanded. It's not.
yeah, not sure if you guys want to see that just yet. But it's the whole experience from like the people that work at the New Bev to that area, to the parking, to the host, and like last night when I brought them that champagne bottle for them to
which
thank
was
them
awesome. Yeah.
to thank them for showing our movie The Final Girls, finally on Glorious 35 Mil, the premiere we never had.
Which is cool.
They were just as excited, like, oh, we love that movie.
Right.
And we're so glad. And
that was the coolest thing. I didn't see it, but I heard
she
it.
was so happy to meet somebody that worked
awesome.
on it. I'm like, I can't. And that's what I was like.
She was trying to check everyone's COVID cards. She was like, I love the movie.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation.
And I felt bad about distracting her, but that's why I was like, hey, can I hug you? It's like, I'm so thankful for what you guys, because, I'm sure your name went up there on the big screen because you guys shot Carol on film. So I'm sure it's played at the New Bev, which means you got your name on that marquee.
Right.
That's cool as hell.
No one, 98% of people didn't get credited on Django because Quentin wanted the credits old school. I 1000% respect that. I don't think for my 8 days I deserve to be credited anyways. And I'll be honest, with The Dark Knight, I'm probably just too lazy to look to see if I'm even credited. But I know my name's up there, and thanks to them, my name is on that iconic screen too. Of all the greats that have gone through there, it's cool that, okay, I can say my name was up there.
That is really
and
cool.
that's why I was
especially since the theater is so growing on us. Like it's
iconic.
It's become
it really is, from the owners to this to that.
The only theater we haven't, I know there's more than just one.
This has become like a theater, the Hello Weekly theater review.
We
still
review of theater. Review of theater.
I
Which
haven't been to.
I'll be there tomorrow. It'll be my very first time because friend of the show,
It's really happening.
Tommy McLaughlin, and I can say this now because this will drop after
cool.
Valentine's Day. But I got him and his girlfriend tickets, and it's gonna be a surprise. She doesn't know that.
That's
She
awesome.
doesn't know that coming.
Breaking news on the show.
Don't post this tomorrow until after midnight. So
That's
they're going to
amazing.
join me, and that's our first time to the Los Feliz. But you guys, we've been to the Vista, we've been to the Egyptian, we've been to the New Bev. We still need to, Cinerama. We've been to the Arrow. We've been to we've been to the Newark. We haven't
Newark, I
all
was
been to
gonna
the
say.
Arrow yet together.
Right. I don't think we've all been to a Lemley together either.
No, haven't done that either.
Well, we're not in Pasadena anymore. They got rid of
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I forgot about Cinerama. That was a great time. That was
There's also one in Santa Monica too.
no, that's the Arrow.
Oh, that's the Arrow.
Yeah, that's the Arrow. Because once you go out there, like I said, roll your windows down and just enjoy that salt air. And if you go like on an afternoon matinee, when you leave, it's like when Margot Robbie walks out of the theater in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It feels just like that. You're like,
so
the sun, the sea, and you probably saw something pretty good too.
Dude,
I wish.
I
We
saw
saw
the
Cinema
scene when he
Paradiso.
was saying it.
So yeah, you saw something pretty good there.
I didn't like.
Oh,
not
that's
for-
right.
it's
You
not
saw
for-
Cinema Paradiso.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. It's not my favorite, but it is.
That's a weirdly divisive movie. It doesn't feel like it should be. It feels like it should just be a feel good
I think
Oscar
it'd be kinda
movie.
long.
Oscar movie.
It's like when you leave there, it's like, did I have a beard? Are these stubbles? we were joking around with our showrunner Ryan, who's just like the greatest showrunner I've ever, like right up there with Josh Charles and some of these others. And he's so young and fresh faced looking. And anytime he comes in, it's like, did you have a beard? Were we doing that take for so long that you have a beard now? And then you're like, oh yeah, it was a 13-page day. He probably does have a beard, right? But if Michael Trim is there, God damn it, we'll be done by lunch. And he's just like knocking him out.
He's young and fresh faced. Watch out
Michael
for, watch
Trim
out
is
for
a lot
airlocks,
of things,
man.
but he's not young and fresh.
No, the other
Well,
one.
Michael Trim. Oh yeah. But that's the great thing about a good showrunner is like, hey man, if he can do it, fine. Because sometimes you'll get on these shows where you'll get producers who wanted to direct in the first place, be like, no, we'll need this angle, and but no, with Ryan, he's just like, no, if it's his episode, and if he can get all this and those 13-page days, a lot of time it's blue screen or green screen work. We've always been a 3-camera setup. So honestly, there's only so many ways you can shoot blue. So
That's a weird sense.
especially with 3 cameras. I mean, you see the world. You throw those you throw those 150 lenses on there, man, there's nothing.
Yeah.
So hold on. So if you had a big calendar of days, but like a lot of it was like green screen, it wouldn't be that hard.
Oh no,
It would be hard.
you probably wouldn't even have 8-hour days.
Oh,
You would just knock the stuff out. You could
That's
go
so
to
interesting.
Sin City.
maybe that's why it's happening
Well,
so much. Right?
also too, you would just be like, I've done a few like that where it was all green screen, blue screen, and it's the worst. I mean, it's just
Oh.
because it's hard to keep people.
Never mind.
It's hard to keep people quiet on stage. You know your production. The battle between production versus Grip and Electric is like goes back to like the Hatfield McCoys. They feel
That's hilarious.
and believe they cannot be heard, and they are the loudest people on earth.
That's so interesting.
It got so bad on our last day of shooting that the producers went over to them and like, you guys, look, I'm not just your boss, I'm your big boss. Shut the fuck up.
Wow.
And they just had it because they would not. The Teamsters are hard to keep quiet. G&E is hard to keep quiet. Other departments are hard to keep quiet, and it just makes it. And on the stage, everything's amplified because you're in a big sound booth. Some dude farts like, who's farting?
Oh no!
Sounds like a B-52.
Yeah, it sounds like the buzz from Inception.
Oh no!
Jeez.
So it's
that Nolan sound.
It's a nice change of pace, a day here, day there, but
yeah, it's a grind. That now I did. Well, I know.
I think
Now I know better.
And I think
Sounds
that's
horrible.
what I'm getting ready to get into.
Oh no!
With Boogeyman, because I told you guys I was.
Yeah, that's right.
I was trying to convince you guys that it was just about a guy who just likes to dance. Like,
No.
oh man, I'll watch the shit out of that. But it's actually a horror movie.
Yes.
But I think we have a lot of stage days, and stage days are great because you don't have to worry about anybody getting hurt. You don't have to worry about this or that. But man, that's a long.
See, this is the thing that blows my mind. So you guys have been in movie stuff. I never have, but this is like the Greenland switch thing. Like to me, stages sound dangerous. Stages to me sound like something you fall off of and like whatever. Right? Green screen just sounds
I like.
But he's like stage days are great. No one gets hurt. Green screen.
Well, no, you shoot the green screen in the stages.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
God.
that's usually because you got to be like it's got to be a weather controlled environment. But like for some of the stages, the blue screen, green screen days, like for the process trailer, Porn Man Process, and as you go farther into your Cary Grant, you're going to see some of the finest Porn Man's Process ever when it comes to the driving stuff. Well, you already saw it for North by Northwest.
I'm excited
It was
for
pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'm excited. The drunk driving north by northwest.
And he's like, you got the one guy who is a rabid alcoholic drunk. Okay, well, yeah, of course he's probably done this a million times in his life. One-handed.
He literally laughed during. It was
Yeah,
the only
it's
scene
still
where
funny though. It is really funny.
It's supposed to be suspenseful, but he was just.
He's crushing. He's like, they're like, he's like gaining seconds on them. I'm like,
that scene is like lightweight companion to the Wolf of Wall Street. Leo drives home.
Quaaludes, yeah.
Right,
My
like,
favorite is him going down the stairs.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like that.
And then his version of like what really happened.
Yeah, I would watch those two scenes side by side.
But nowadays, what they do, we'll bring in like real screens, so it legit looks like you're driving because you have screens on all three sides with three cameras.
I'm glad someone finally solved this.
Yeah,
I mean, it's only been 100 years of technology. I'm glad we can make it look like we're driving
because
now.
it's the only time we bring in the legit.
Congratulations.
We bring in the legit HD screens. And it looks great. The only thing was, it made me homesick for LA because the footage was all downtown Hollywood Boulevard. It was just like, and this was like 2 weeks before I was coming out here, and I was like, oh man, this is making me really even want to go now. And Ryan and a lot of our folks are from Los Angeles, so he's like, yeah, I can't even watch this. He's like, it makes me, because a lot of times they would just, even if it was for 36 hours, still 36 hours in LA. So they would just fly back and just come back. Kind of like when I would come out here and we would go do a Saturday at the Egyptian for like the Universal stuff. They take those breaks. And you guys have always been nice enough to join me on those adventures. But man, you meet some incredible people at those events. When you guys came for the Universal one, you were nice enough to stay for the first three. And then I know you guys had, because I mean, I gave you like a day and a half's notice because I only gave myself 2 days. And I was like, oh, it's this weekend. Shit. All right. Well, figure. So you're typing. Hey, guys, what are you doing? Wrong person. Oh, sorry. Wrong Nick. So yeah, it was kind of short notice. But after you guys took off, I met this incredible family. And this guy was like one of the Disney execs he was with Marvel and Netflix on the Luke Cage show. And then later,
Oh,
as you just
that's
move seats
right.
around, you just start meeting more and more interesting people.
Right.
And I had told Ryan and Luke, our producers, that, like, yeah, I don't talk to anybody. I was like, well, if you're with me, you would. I promise. It's like you're going to be there a long time.
Right.
And you're just interested. Hey, did you guys like the movie? I saw you brought your son. Did he like?
But that's part of what you're saying about watching it in LA. LA is special. Like, you can do this in LA.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that in Ohio.
Oh my God! Yeah, this would be,
Why are you
well, no, Garin
Who
could do
are
it.
you?
No, Garin could do it. But,
told
it
you
would
guys-
it would be hard to do in Ohio.
I told you guys, like, we were joking earlier about how Indiana's where film goes to die, as well as film careers.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But there's one art house theater there, and I hated it when it first opened up. But they've made no
Really?
alterations to it in almost 20 years, so it's just where I want it now. Run down, dumpy, dirty, grimy,
Right.
smelly. Now I embrace
There's
it.
a phrase
I was
for
like,
that. It's like
I was
planned
like,
obsolescence
man,
or something.
yeah, I was
I
like,
like
you
that.
guys haven't changed these carpets since 2005, and I respect that. But I always go in there because they're always nice enough to book stuff that I show or that I worked on. And I always go in there like, hey, I really appreciate you guys doing that. I worked on this show. And there's always some kid there like, oh, I'm interested in working on films. Like, well, after the screening, I'll come out because I was
Yeah,
you too.
right.
I lived here.
You have to give back.
I will be here and I will talk to you. And if it's something you're interested in, I was like, but I'm going to tell you this right now. You're going to have to move.
That's right.
And that usually will be like, you'll see that come to Jesus moment. And you'll see like, oh. Or they're like, oh, okay.
I am curious. Because you're gonna be back in July, and most of the theaters should be open back.
We'll be back to cinematic full strength.
And
We'll
what
get-
were you seeing in July? What's
Well,
We
that's
don't-
the thing, we don't know.
we
was
don't-
asking
oh,
about
we
it.
don't know.
But
it'll be something incredible.
because the Vista
Right.
should be.
Oh, so we
back.
don't know the schedules
Yeah,
yet.
but the Egyptians should be back. Like a lot of the
They'll-
theaters are back. 'Cause
they'll-
Right now they're not.
They'll have them. Trust me, they'll want them back for summer, because Hollywood is pretty much everything's pretty much back to normal.
Right.
We're almost out of COVID, and people, even like the most skepticalest people I know, the safest, most scaredest human beings, where are they right now? At Mardi Gras. And if that
another answer. I didn't
if that doesn't tell you that we're not, if that doesn't tell you that we're not almost out of this,
Right. But back to the hold on. I got to get to the schedule thing because this is blowing my mind. Is it true that the new Bev we don't know very far in advance what they're showing?
no, they only like we were talking about today during the game, we'll get the poster update for February sometime this week.
Okay.
But no, I'm just coming in blind. And
Because
those
like
have been
the
like
Turner Classic
some-
Movie Festival, like I know what is showing like 7 months in advance,
Yeah,
right?
that's in April.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. But for some reason, some of these calendars you don't know, and it's blowing my mind that we have theaters reopening, and he's coming back in July, but we just have no idea what's showing.
We'll find. Yeah,
There's
there's.
something.
Yeah, I
Well, no,
promise-
I know we will, but it's weird that nothing's that far in advance anymore.
Yeah.
You think they would? Like,
Things got
especially,
shaken
to get
up.
everyone hyped up.
Well, they used to
like,
be.
You,
Right.
you haven't been here for 2 years.
What's the big anticipated summer movies? I've been seeing Batman out now. What's coming up to
Batman.
people?
Doctor Strange, Batman. I'm sure.
Is there what's the next horror? I don't even know the.
Oh,
Nope will be big.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
The
yeah,
short
you're
film.
right. We were just talking about the trailer, right?
and in some
I think it's
movies,
July release.
and of course, some movies are pretty transparent when they're coming out. Hey, when's Halloween Ends coming out? I don't know. Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's-
Jurassic.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Dominion.
that thing just dropped.
That
That-
wasn't blown away by it, true. I looked okay.
Yeah, I was
I-
not blown away. I was not blown away by it either, but I don't
will
know that
stay,
I could be by Jurassic
I will
Park.
die on this hill. I don't think they've ever made a good Jurassic Park sequel.
I'll be damned. Hot takes.
I
That's
just-
a hot take. That's a spicy take.
I know. Be prepared.
Okay,
you
hold on.
guys.
Let me think about this. Let me think
I
about
to this
if
day,
is
I
right.
think there's only one good, and that's the original.
Let me think
and
about
I've
this.
read-
Wait, are you comparing all of them to the original, or are you just saying good in general? What's your
All of
what-
them. I
what is your
consider them
criteria?
all. I think they're all bad.
Well,
except
okay,
for the
so
first
they're not
one.
even good.
And I
Interesting.
love.
So Lost World's bad, Jurassic Park 3 is
and
bad.
I
I can buy all
love the
that.
book, The Lost World. I love the
Michael
book so
Crichton.
much.
Okay.
And of course I love one of my very first deployment was stateside,
Mm-hmm.
and despite what anybody tells you, that's prison term. Stateside Army deployments are a prison term.
Wow.
You get 1 hour to exercise. I mean, it's instead of orange, you're camouflage. So I read every movie. I read every book that got turned into a movie.
That doesn't sound so bad.
You didn't
George
get,
is like, is this a retirement?
Yeah, this sounds like a.
you didn't get.
What do I have to pay to get this? $80 a month.
They weren't going to let you ever leave the gates.
Oh my god!
After our
Just sit there reading the gates. All right, no problem.
you
100. Do I hear 100? I bid 100.
You're about to tell me George got a briefcase packed with clothes, a couple boxes. Sign up.
The upper command could go out whenever they wanted. So if they wanted Taco Bell, they could get Taco Bell. So after the 38th day of the 38th fight,
Oh no!
the bigwig, the colonel came down, and our one of our, I think it was our sergeant major, he was having Taco Bell. He's like, "Hey, sergeant major, how's your Taco Bell?" "Oh, it's great, sir. Thanks for asking." He's like, "That's good. Yeah, enjoy it, because you're not going to get it again until your men go out." And then we started getting passes the next day.
Oh my god!
Because you were just gonna, it was never gonna get any better, because you can't keep human beings locked behind fences that didn't commit a crime. With guns.
So I was wrong.
But no, I mean,
That is appealing.
it was George. That was the summer that
I suspected.
that was the summer where I watched Tommy's. That was the summer where I watched Tommy's Friday.
Yeah.
and watch and got that inspiring video film commentary. That was the summer that all I did was read movies turned into books turned into films, and that was like, okay. And you guys know, and you remember this too, back then in the 2000s to the mid 2000s, every filmmaker was online.
Yes.
You could go to their personal
I just
page.
posted that picture.
You
of
could go to. I talked to so many
Resident Evil
filmmakers.
Mila.
Oh, Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, answering like fan questions on AOL, and the picture's hilarious. She like looks on top of it 1 second, the next second it's a disaster face. She's
not digging it.
No, that era of internet.
But every filmmaker had their own webpage, and with the legitimate contact to them. And I made so many contacts. And it wasn't just my stateside deployments. I made legitimate contacts when I was overseas, too.
So if there are time travelers listening to this podcast, this era is eminently hackable.
Yeah,
you can just like land here in this time period.
Now,
and, like, these people are all available.
Yeah,
you can
now-
work with any filmmaker you want. Just take your pick. Who would you work with? Just
this
land,
was
like,
the start. This was like pre-MySpace, pre-Facebook,
right. You
all
can
that
meet
stuff.
anyone.
So you
who would I email? Who would I?
I mean, seriously, legit, real
Right.
good filmmakers.
Next thing you know, you're having coffee with Clint Eastwood.
They all had their own, because they all have their own production office. They have their own site. They have their own everything.
God.
Yeah.
And you never know
This
who's
is
going to
great.
end up returning your email.
This is a great era.
Yeah.
Speaking of time, we have to be done. So, no, I'm getting a message about my dog. Do Event Horizon? I know that was ostensibly what this was about, right? So, like, the movie we're done with, we loved it. Did we re-rate it? Did we want to? It was just technically.
We rated it real high.
You never
before.
rated it as a first time.
What did you guys
I
rate
wanted-
it the first time?
I don't remember. We rated it probably pretty high.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I actually know.
I know where I would rate it now.
My original rating at the time was, I think it was like 77.
Okay. What would you? Do you remember?
85.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take that 29 and I'm going to turn that sucker around, because I'm going to put it at 92, because I had
damn it, you were a
such-
first time viewer.
Wow.
and I had such a good, and again, it's the experience. I see these tools all the time. Oh, I watched like 600 movies last month. Like, yeah, but it's a movement to you. It's like a bowel movement. How did you experience it? Well, me and my no friends watched it on my phone. Okay, well,
My no friends.
and that's okay. That's great. But I always tell them, I was like, "Look, guys, it's an experience. Hey, ask me how I saw this movie. Well, I flew halfway across the country and I got in a rental. Then I got in a car wreck, and what was left of the rental, we went to the drive-in to go see these 9 Lugosi Karloff movies on 35 mil,
Right.
and then I drove what was left of the rental back to the place, barely. But every film, It should, and I know people are they're still afraid to go to the movies. I totally get that. But those are the people that were still afraid to go to the movies beforehand.
But this is hilarious to me that like the juxtaposition that's being painted here is like you and your no friends watching a movie on your phone, or live the arc of licorice pizza on the way to watch your movie.
Yeah,
like fly across here, fight someone, your car breaks down.
Oh yeah,
it means a little more.
Or just sit in a closet and watch it on your phone. These are the
with
two.
your ET stuffed animals.
Both of these sound like amazing choices to me.
But it's just and all your listeners too. There's nothing wrong with going to see in Joe Bob's Drive-In, but if you have a chance, go to a real one.
Because
not
I
only,
love the Joe Bob shout out. Good
yeah,
call.
it's true. And Joe Bob would be the first one to tell you, because I know this for a fact, because he goes to the drive-ins all the time.
Speaking of Joe Bob,
yeah,
Darcy the mail girl likes to come on my TikTok.
That's right.
So we're basically best friends. So we have the Hollow Weekly delegation to the drive-in delegation.
No, but that's the new gold currency, TikTok. Nobody else.
TikTok is
nobody cares about the
TikTok
rest.
sag.
Well, I'm glad you came by, Garin. I'm
yes,
excited.
thank you for being on the show again and being for the special movie.
I'm excited for July with all the other.
I'm excited for July, and I'm also excited. So here's the thing. I feel a little nervous about this. I'll just say it now, but Life Force was amazing. Mm-hmm. Event Horizon has been amazing.
You think we're gonna hit a snag?
No.
Okay.
I'm an optimist. I think we'll be fine. I'm optimistic about where we're headed. That's what I mean. Is I'm excited about like whatever. But it's weird that they've both been sci-fi horror so far.
Ooh, well, I was gonna say we already
because it's not always gonna be sci-fi horror. There's no way there's not enough of them.
Interesting.
We kind of did hit our one snag. We did see The Happening together. And
oh shit,
that was one of those.
The Happening or the Haunting?
The Haunting.
I'm
sorry.
Yeah.
Well, The Happening would have been terrible too. But that's
The Happening.
The Haunting
was long.
We all left with a beard on that one.
Like, that's right. You guys hate The Haunting.
Yeah, because it was just like that one lady just kept screaming.
I wasn't with you guys on that one.
And those programmers were smart because
right after lunch. Right after the break.
Because that would have put to use a pro wrestling term, that would have been not the curtain jerker, because that's the first one, but you don't want the first match back, the popcorn match, to be you. It's like, okay, I need my second tier stars to open the second half, and that's the reason why they had the Ant movie. Them. They had it because them is a lot of fun, and that's not gonna. But man,
by the way, the
Haunting
would on Rotten Tomatoes rated that.
Yeah, the Haunting would have put, after a big beefy cheesy delicious lunch like we had, dude, they're snoring in the balconies again. Those sons of bitches. I told you not to put that movie after break. And they learned. They knew.
They did know. They nailed it. But
they knew exactly.
Well, I'm curious to see what they've learned. After being shut out for like 2 years.
Dude, I'm open to whatever. Matter of fact, Giant Ants is sci-fi. I'll be in sci-fi horror, as we know.
I'm excited.
Thank you again, Garin.
Thanks you guys for having me.
All right, and then watch a bunch of horror movies.
Stay scary, and if you're...
Don't turn into Sam Neill and run a podcast like Nick is looking right now.
Dude,
it's pretty terrifying.
I feel great.
He felt great too.
You know,
he seemed like he was really having a good time with it right until the very.
He went out with a smile on his face. And you know who else he said?
You don't need where we're going. We don't need smile.